So I guess we can start. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I should chair this first part of the session. Sorry for entering late once again, and I had an exam and the students took more time than expected, so apologies for this. And so I see that Rita is here, and so I guess you are presenting, right, Rita? Because
yes.
Yeah, because John initially said that he was the one going to present. So as far as I understand, your challenge is coming from a European project you are working on, right?
Exactly, yes. I am currently involved in a project. It's called AI Sprint. It is also an Horizon 2020 project that started just 6 months ago. So officially started on the 1st January 2021.
So that's great. So maybe you want to start sharing your screen
sure.
and presenting your challenge.
Yes.
Which is certainly, I mean, very useful, given that it could be, given that since the project has started very recently, it could be an opportunity for collaboration.
Exactly, yes, it is. In the meantime, I'm also sharing the desktop, and I hope that it is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So as you can see, I mean, I'm gonna, as I really said now, all my presentation will be about this new project. And in particular, I will divide the presentation in 3 main parts. The first one is about the context that gave the opportunity to the project to be born, let's say. Then I will provide some inputs about the project, and then at the end I will, let's say, present the first challenges that the project is trying to address. So first of all, as I said, I will try to explain why we have so much innovation in the artificial intelligence system, also, let's say, in relation with the edge and cloud computing environments. As you can see in this first slide, artificial intelligence is starting to become more and more important. And indeed, according to a forecast analysis that IDC did, it is also one of the iSpring project partner, in just 4 years, we're going to expect to have 17% of growth. Then all of this growth, of course, needs to be also supported by cloud and edge environments that are able to incorporate the increased number of data that we're going to expect in the next 4 years. So from one side, we have a lot of data. On the other side, we have infrastructures that are becoming more and more complex. And so the aim of, let's say, also the Sprint, as I will say later on, is also trying to optimize these 2 aspects. So all the edge computing systems are really complex, mainly for different reasons. From one side, we have an environment, let's say, artificial intelligence environment that is growing, but then on the other side, we are also lacking a lot of expertise in the field. We have a lot of different frameworks that are from time to time difficult to incorporate, and they are also taught in, let's say, different languages. Also, all the way of building AI infrastructure is not really structured right now, because in a majority of cases, also because of lack of expertise, they're actually based on trial and error systems. And then, as I also mentioned, we have so many data that on the other side open also another problem that is linked to the privacy and security of data of all the users that are gonna provide them. And then, as I also mentioned before, the cloud computing infrastructure is complex because it is heterogeneous. And then when we're gonna build it, we also need to consider a lot of different inputs like cost and energy that, of course, needs to be balanced, because we cannot have just a very cheap solution, let's say, but is highly expensive then from the energy efficiency point of view. Then in this slide, we try to show that actually the hardest part of the artificial intelligence is not the artificial intelligence itself, because actually considering the entire infrastructure, the machine learning code represents only 5–10% of all of it. As you can see here, we have a lot of different things to take into consideration, like the configuration, the data collection, etc. That is actually what makes the entire cloud computing system very complex. So in this situation, the iSpring project has been found good opportunities to address different challenges that I'm going to propose later on. And first of all, the project is going to, let's say, create a design framework that provides simplifying programming models that help other people to also create their own artificial intelligence let's say models later on, starting from this one. The project also aims to create automatic deployment, and that also support the dynamic reconfiguration of infrastructures. And then we are also trying to build blocks for distributed trainings, privacy preservation and architecture enhancement inside, the entire scope of the project. Here, you can also find a summary of the main goals, even though I have already addressed some of them before. So, as I said, we are really trying to create an agile delivery and secure automatic deployment for the execution of artificial intelligence applications and models. We're also creating new tools for the development of artificial intelligence applications. We would like also to provide strategies to design and let's say, partition the artificial intelligence model in an optimal way. We're also implementing a runtime environment to also monitor all the application execution. And then we're also supporting continuous training and application of the architecture enhancement to also make sure that we have new data included in the AI applications. All the infrastructure that the iSpring project is gonna build will also be enhanced by and supported by 3 use cases that you can see here. So actually we are also trying to demonstrate the potential of the project through the application to the personalized healthcare maintenance and inspection to the to windmill systems, and also to farming 4.0. And now we go into the challenges. Actually, the project is addressing 4 of them. The first one is to enhance the flexibility of cloud-based solutions in order to accommodate new AI system sensors, and at the same time, we would like also to optimize the performance of the system itself. Then, taking into consideration the increased number of sensors and all network devices that are interconnected together, we would like also to increase the computational efficiency and in order to process huge amounts of data in an optimized way. Then we would like also to understand how to cope with a lot of different Internet of Things devices, and also to understand how we can incorporate them in all the artificial intelligence functionalities, also in terms of computing capacity and energy efficiency. And then also considering the privacy and security concern, we would like also to address this issue that is also becoming very important nowadays. Also, let's say, in terms of model training for their deployment and also for the local data processing. Thanks a lot for the attention, and I will now stop sharing. And if you have any questions, of course, yes, we are here. Also, I would like to say that I am part of the iSpring team, but I am not in the technical development of the team. So in case there might be very, very technical questions that might not be able to address right now, we can also take them and then reply. And then, I will also ask to the expert team to reply, and then we will come back to you later on.
Sure. So is there a question for Rita?
Well, I don't, this is John. I guess you can see me, so you don't, you know who it is. I don't have necessarily a question, but in order to, since I'm from Trust IT, also, I am also in the project officially, although I'm not part of the project team. But I did look into what the project is doing since we are cooperating with them. And I was asked to also look into some of the technical aspects of the project. So I thought I would round out Rita's presentation with some of my observations on what I see there. In fact, I think you too, Elizabeth, in a sense, are also involved because the Politecnico of Milano is also involved in the project. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to say a couple of words about where I, from my own experience, see where this project is located, let's say, in the overall context. I'd like to remind everybody, including myself, of what edge computing is all about. Edge computing is mainly about two main things. One is getting good latency times for mission critical applications. The fact is the speed of light is only so fast, and the only way you can actually get a fast response in a mission critical application is to have some of the computing power being right there at the same place. Now, there aren't that many mission critical applications that are that mission critical, so to speak. And in fact, it's not my impression that the ones being studied directly in AI Sprint are of as much of that type, let's say, as the ones I have been involved in. And one of them in particular is automated driving. Now, automated driving is genuinely mission critical. You got to have a response in milliseconds, if not less. And so they do exist, and that is certainly a very important application. The other one is offloading processing from the main cloud facility, let's say, which could be very far away and very hard to access. And that is very much part of this. And in fact, this is one of the most ambitious applications of technology towards solving that problem that I've seen, because it's all the way across the spectrum. They call it the cloud continuum, right? That is, it's from the big cloud down to the edge, down through the sensors. And what I see being new here, in particular, is that they're driving it all the way down into the sensors, because the sensors themselves are now being AI enabled, so that they can catch things right at the very beginning, at the point at which the sensors are actually, the sensor data is actually being gathered, and which is quite amazing. Now, I found that the best way to understand that, plus a couple of other things in the projects, was to go back to a couple of the use cases. One in particular is the healthcare monitoring. So I would like to explain once again what I saw in there. So the healthcare monitoring is about monitoring people for the danger of having a stroke. Now, so it's going to be something you wear, let's say, or something like that. And so you can see how where the AI comes in there. The AI comes in is that it will look for telltale signs and do the pattern matching that machine learning does. And it's going to be individual to that one person. So it will be things like either the person fills out, I think, a questionnaire or something about, what is your history, or simply you will know the person's history. In any case, so the models being used are personal to that person. So that's already something that's really quite interesting, is that they're done there. Second fact is that there's an ambition in the project to be, of course, to be secure, but also to be privacy guaranteeing. And now you can see why. This is healthcare, and people's health data is all about privacy. So the idea here is that you handle it locally, and by the time it gets up to the cloud, which is a big public thing, it is no longer private. It has been anonymized and that kind of thing. So that also explains, gives you an idea of why they talk about being privacy preserving. There are also other aspects of their use cases, but this is the one that, for me, really brought home the fact that they want to be privacy preserving there. And the final one is when you have these, something like a bodily worn thing for the healthcare, it's small, it's really small. And so you have to rethink about how you're going to do all the training and the pattern matching and that kind of thing. And I know that the technical squad in the project is looking at all the new ways that people are coming up with for doing ML with all of its heavy requirements on data core and everything else on these small devices. For example, there's an initiative called Tiny ML that certainly some of you researchers are aware of, etc. So these are the aspects in which I see very unique things going on, and where I see connections. We'll talk about that later to, for example, some of the things that were talked about yesterday, like optimization across the entire level of things. Okay, I hope that helps to round out some of the technical issues being looked at.
And John, sorry, Isabella.
No, I was thinking that reading also your what you wrote in your proposal challenge, an idea that you have is to create like a kind of cluster of projects interested in artificial intelligence. And I guess in the application of artificial intelligence, maybe in the cases that John was mentioning. So did you do you have specific ideas on the characteristics that these projects that you want to join should have, and what you expect from this collaboration? So we try to see if there are interested projects.
Here, in general, we're also starting the cooperation with other projects that are mainly working in the cloud. Because what we see is that apart, let's say, of the topic of artificial intelligence, the main also innovation, let's say, brought by the project is also driven by the fact that artificial intelligence without a cloud computing infrastructure that is able to support it cannot exist. So for us, the cloud computing aspect is really critical. And indeed, right now, we're also looking for some projects that are obviously working in the cloud computing for this point of view. For the artificial intelligence itself, it might be relevant also, as also John mentioned before, we're also developing a lot of different sensors, like the watch, let's say, that we have in the healthcare use case. But for example, if I also mention the other two use cases, like the one about the maintenance and inspection, or the farming 4.0, there we're also developing sensors. They are a little bit bigger compared to the watch, but anyway, they are also automatic systems that are able, from one side, to already discover if there are some problems with windmill. So then, I mean, it also helps to understand, it also helps, let's say, all the maintenance of windmills, etc. So it has also a positive impact from sustainability point of view. And also, let's say, for the farming 4.0, all the systems that are gonna be developed have also the big aim of monitoring how much, how often, for example, we need to let's say, take care of wineries, because in our specific case, it is about wineries, or for example, to already detect some issues, etc. So for us, also the application of the artificial intelligence use cases, I mean, are important to demonstrate the overall infrastructure that, as I said, I mean, it has all the basis in the cloud computing infrastructure. So if we can find some collaboration in this sector, also linked to the fact that, for example, we are really looking forward also to reducing the energy consumption of all the systems. So we would like also to find some points of cooperation in this way. Also because, for example, the ice cream project is also born from another research that has been done from another European project. It's called Andreas, that had the main issue also to the main, let's say, concern of reducing the energy efficiency. So this is also a very important aspect that we would like also to consider, and while not reducing the efficiency of all the infrastructure.
Yeah, on efficiency, energy efficiency, one thing that a provocative, let's say, point is, I don't know if you have been discussing about this in the project, but we were thinking now in many projects, for instance, Soda Light I'm working on, also partly also in Piacere, that is another project I'm involved in. The idea is to, let's say, simplify the way application components work by wrapping them within containers, no? And of course, by introducing even multiple layers of virtualization, because you have the virtual machine and then you have the container inside the virtual machine, etc. And we were thinking, yes, this is good on the one side because it introduces this this high abstraction that allows us, for instance, to move a component from one place to the other, etc. But on the other hand, what is the impact of this on energy consumption? No, because clearly when you are executing something within a container, you consume much more power than in the case you are executing the same thing on the, let's say, bare metal, or as close as possible to the bare metal. So I was wondering if in your project you are also reasoning on this, and if you are planning to have guidelines also on this aspect.
Yes, we are also working on this for very specific guidelines. Of course, the ice cream project is a very new one. Because we have only 6 months of history. So our aim, let's say, we're actually drafting this. For now, I cannot share any detailed information about this, but of course, I can also address this point to the coordinator of the project, and we can also further provide inputs on this in the upcoming months, also when all the infrastructure is gonna be built. Yeah, but I do agree that this is a kind of controversial topic, because of course the more data you have, the more energy you consume, because it is always it is going in the same direction. So it is really one of the biggest challenges also that we have in general in the data environment.
Yeah. So are there other questions or comments for Rita?
Regarding the idea of energy consumption, of course, the famous one right now is about blockchain. That's the one everybody's complaining about. We did have somebody yesterday and who came in briefly today. It was Christoph, who I know is interested in green computing, so to speak. So this is a very important topic, and maybe it's one that should go onto our radar screen, so to speak, for possible collaboration in software forum, because it's starting to be expressed on very different fronts other than the famous one of blockchain.
So I don't see other comments. So maybe we can move to the second part of, first of all, we need to thank Rita for the presentation and for this part of the discussion. And then we can probably move to the second part of this workshop, where the aim is to really try to understand whether the various projects that are represented here can find ways for collaboration. So, John, if I'm not mistaken, you are the one chairing this part, right?
Yes, that's correct. Right. So now it changes from something that was officially a workshop, but looked a lot like a webinar before, with people presenting and people asking questions. Now we're changing to a real workshop where we're supposed to actually get together and pretend we're sitting in the same room together. And I know what happens in a real workshop. The first thing that happens is that people introduce themselves. So this is what I would like us all to do. Okay, so Rita, I think we can excuse you from this because you just introduced yourself for an entire half hour. So let me introduce myself, and then I'll just sort of walk around the table as I see it. And I would like you to say who you are, briefly your affiliation, and especially if and which project you are actually affiliated with, what you're doing, so that we can get an idea of who is around the table and and give us some stimulation for ideas. So I'll start with myself. So I am John Favreau. I am affiliated, of course, with SWForum.eu. But I am also involved, like Elisabetta said, in a few other projects. One of them, for example, is called Full 5G, and you can imagine what that's about. It's about fifth generation mobile, so they're very much. That's how I know something about edge computing, for example. So that's another one I'm involved in. I'm also involved in a project from the European Open Science Cloud community called DICE, which is about allocating resources to scientific projects to support their scientific workflows. We heard about that yesterday. So these are a couple of projects that I'm affiliated with. So let's go to you, Elisabetta. Once again, say obviously who you are, but maybe also the projects you were also associated with.
Yeah. So this is Elisabetta Di Nitto. I work at Politecnico di Milano, and besides Software Forum, I am associated with Sodalite and Piacere, that are two projects that in some sense are similar because both of them try to address the problem of simplifying the life of users who want to deploy and manage and operate complex applications on the cloud or between the cloud and the edge. This is in particular especially Piacere, or between the cloud and the HPC part. And this is more Sodalite. Sodalite is in the third year. So it is a project that is producing some results that hopefully could be useful for others. And that these results mainly concern mechanisms for modeling the deployment, what we call abstract application deployment models, and transforming these models into Tosca executable code. Then other results concern the orchestration aspects and the monitoring aspects, and the ability to take complex applications composed of parts that go on HPC, on cloud, and now we are also tackling, at least in a simplified way, edge, and making sure that the whole system composed of these different heterogeneous pieces is working correctly. So this is the main idea. Piacere is a project that started 6 months ago, so more or less as the one Rita has presented before. And so the ideas are similar, and probably, even though this is not going to happen explicitly, it is somehow building on top of Sodalite, especially because there are some partners in common. Yeah, so this is all from my side.
Great, thanks very much. Now, we're starting to move away from the people who are strictly involved in software forum. And what I'd like to do before we move on, I'll warn you, Dario, you're going to be next, so you can think about it while I present something. What I would like to do is give you something now to play with. I hope you can see my my screen. Can you see it being shared? It's something called.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, excellent. So this is an interactive tool that some of you might know.
Maybe, John, you want to copy the list and paste it in the chat so it is easier for everyone to...
It is indeed there. I just put it in the chat now. So this is something that all of you can access without signing in or anything like that. So please pull up a browser. As we go along, this would be your chance also to help us as part of this interactive workshop to come up to add other research challenges. We put in the ones that were there yesterday. You can see them, and also the potential results. So feel free to do it yourself. Let me now, hold on a second now.
Sorry, I don't see the link in the chat. I don't know if I'm the only one or...
Oh.
Problem.
Did somebody else see it? Did it make it in there? Oh, okay.
Okay.
I sent it to a single person. I think I sent it to a single person. You see it now? Okay, yeah, somebody sent it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Apologies for that. Okay. Hopefully you still see my second screen being shared, right? Oops. Oh, so that is the idea board. Okay, so this is now, for example, on the ideas. So you can click on one of these, let's say, maybe like this, all right? And you can, for example, you can say you like it, okay? And at that point, we have somebody liking one of the things. Or you can add another research challenge. At least I think. Uh-oh, I'm not sure how to do this now. So somebody who knows how to do this, please help me to figure this out. That would probably be Lara or phone call in this case. Anyway, okay, so as we're figuring this out, let's go back now to the people. So I would like to ask Dario to say a few words about yourself and your affiliation.
Yes.
And possible projects.
Yeah, I hope that you can hear me.
Yes.
So I'm Dario Dinucci. I'm a researcher, an assistant professor at Tilburg University in the Netherlands, also affiliated with the Hieronymus Academy of Data Science. That is a research institute in data science here in Sertogenbos in the Netherlands, in the south of the Netherlands. So this year, in the last 2 years, I've been involved in Radon, which is a European project that is about creating a novel DevOps framework for serverless deployment and serverless development in general. And in particular, I am the work page leader for the work page about quality assurance of serverless application. Now the project is almost over. Actually, yeah, today is the last day. It's fun. But we will have our review in September, and our major goal was to, at least for my unit, was to create a way to extract knowledge from open source repository to develop some metrics then you can use to try to understand which software components might be defective in the future. And yeah, we developed this kind of technology starting from some state of the art, and now we have a tool that actually can work. So if you need to crawl GitHub repositories, extract metrics, and reuse these metrics or add new metrics, you can use our project.
I see. Okay, excellent. Very good. Okay, I'm going to move down to the line as I see it. Habib, we had a few words from you yesterday. Can you tell us a few words again about yourself and your affiliation and your projects today?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, now I can.
All right, thank you. My name is Habib.
and I'm not like you guys, like you are very experienced. I'm from Ethiopia, and especially I'm 26 years old. I'm just young, and I'm also learning my MS thesis yet. So currently, I am in a project, in a AMR project, which is not, which is will be used for housing organization something. Mostly, I'm a lead developer there. So it's like for 5 years project, and it's the first year project. But I'm really interested in such software related researches and topics, because also currently I am doing my thesis in software fault localization techniques that will be used for in the program repairs, like automatic crash reproduction and also fault localization purpose. So that's why I'm interested in this meeting, and looking forward to working with you, and also like develop my career, and like providing a good thing for the world. I think. Thank you. If you have anything, I can answer.
Excellent. Thanks for. Oops, I have a nice echo there. Okay, great. Well, welcome aboard, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to move down to the next person I see, who is Hunkal, our own Hunkal. So could you say a few words about your affiliation and projects?
Yeah. Hello, this is Hunkal. I am Hunkal Alonso from Tecnalia, a research center in the north of Spain. I'm here today mainly because I'm participating in Software Forum. Well, indeed, we Tecnalia are leading it. But I also participate in other, let's say, topic-related projects that will be presented today, I guess, like Piacere, that was already mentioned by Elisabetta, and also Medina.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Now, Michel, you are the next person I see in the line. Now, of course, we met you very thoroughly yesterday, but there's at least who are new today. So it would be useful to have you introduce yourself.
So my name is Michel Chaudron. I'm a professor in software engineering in Technical University Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And I presented a challenge yesterday, which I think reappears as challenge 1 on the left-hand side of the IDs board panel. And it's about sharing an integration of scientific workflows on top of scientific data. And my proposal is to do this in the area of software projects and software artifacts, because I have myself started collecting UML designs and other artifacts related to software projects. And I think this would be a valuable idea for a community. I must say that today I have another meeting at 5, so I'm not sure how much I can contribute to the session.
Okay, but that's fine. It's good to have you back, though, to introduce yourself and remind everybody of the challenges and represent it briefly. Thanks. And now I'll go on now to our second challenger, Alfonso, who also spoke yesterday. But it would be good to hear from you again briefly and to talk about your projects.
Yes, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm working on something else at the same time. Sure. I don't know if you can see me or not.
Yes, coming and going.
Well, my name is Alfonso. I'm a Doctor of Engineering in Computer Science and Mathematics and MBA in IT Management. I was a systems manager for some years in the past. I've worked in 4 countries, including China, the UAE, the UK, Spain. Well, it's actually 5, and Thailand in the last year. And I'm currently working with ProDevelop in the Piacere project full-time for now.
I see. Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Very good. Okay, the next person is Galia, who is working, of course, with us, but we'd also like to hear something about the project.
Yes, my name is Galia Nedelcheva, and I am a postdoc fellow currently at Politecnico di Milano, I'm assistant to Professor Elisabetta Di Nito, and in particular, I'm involved full-time in the project Piacere, as she mentioned, for 3 months now, and it is mainly on researching on DevSecOps for the development, deployment, and operation of trustworthiness infrastructure as a code. More I'm involved in the DOMO, DevOps modeling language definition, and on the dissemination and communication strategy and activities in the project. But on the other hand, I'm also very pleased to be involved also in the Software Forum project.
Great, thanks very much. Much DevOps, wow. There's a lot of that going on. Now I'm going to, you may be surprised to hear that you're being called on, Zach, but remember, you are involved in many projects that are very relevant to what's happening in Software Forum. So I would like you to present those and your involvement.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Zach. I'm part of Trust IT. I work with John, and I work more in the communications and on the project websites and social media and keeping people up to date with what projects are doing. But I am also part of EOS Secretariat, which has a decent software component. Actually, I was at the EOS symposium a couple of weeks ago in the software breakout, and so it's interesting hearing about that and how software is supporting open research. And I'm also part of another project which has a big software component, which is called Policy Cloud, which is creating a toolkit to help in making policies and developing policies. And this is especially for public administrations, but it could also have applications for commercial applications as well. But yes, I'm not a technical part of any of the teams. I'm on the communications part.
Yeah, I think the message here is that we have our ears to the ground in vast portions of the European software ecosystem, including important ones like GaiaX and the European Open Science Cloud, so that we can also find relevant projects and contexts where we could all connect up together. The next person I see is Lair, our project coordinator. I think it would be important for you to say a few words, Lair, now.
Sure. So I'm Lair Echevarria. I'm the project coordinator of Software Forum. As for my affiliation, I also work at Technalia along with Juncal in the research line Cloud Continuum or Cloud Technologies. And I'm also involved in another project, Piacere, that has been mentioned many times here. And also, I'm also the coordinator of Piacere, and I'm also the coordinator of another project called Medina, which is about continuous auditing in the topic of cloud security certification, compliant with the new regulation, the Cybersecurity Act. I'm also involved in initiatives like AIX and other initiatives related to cloud computing and software engineering.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thanks very much. Julie, would you like to say a word about yourself?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. This is Julie Arteza, and I'm part of SW Forum project as well, and from Trust IT. And aside from Software Forum, I've been involved with different projects. Firstly is Cyberwatching, which is most directly involved with Software Forum. We are helping projects in H2020 projects in cybersecurity and privacy in terms of collaborating with other projects, helping them and giving them voice in terms of their communication and dissemination of the results and impact to the community. Aside from Cyberwatching, I've been involved with EOS Secretariat as well. So we are, like what mentioned by John, we are connected with a vast population or portion of the European Open Science Cloud, wherein we could help you connect with other projects that is driving software development, researches, and aside from that is with cyberwatching with the cybersecurity sector. And in the more technical projects that I've been involved is more on HPC, which is Max, PJS, and TREX. Two of them are Center of Excellence in HPC, wherein for Max, we are developing flagship codes in material science and modeling. And in terms of PJS, we are creating use cases for Earth observation directly involving ocean, Earth observation, and marine studies. And for TREX, the newly developed HPC Center of Excellence is creating a quantum flagship codes for quantum Monte Carlo, aiming to exploit capabilities of the recent exascale on its highest research type. So that's it for me.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Okay, Marco, I recognize you from yesterday. You were with us yesterday. Can you say a few words about yourself now? You'll have to unmute yourself if you can. There we go.
Yes, hello. I'm Marco Ambros. I'm here from Project Piacere, where I'm partially involved in two work packages for the architecture and use case. And my full job is at Ministry for Public Administration in Slovenia, where I'm managing the Division for Systems Architecture and Hosting Services. I'm not from research. I'm more from the operations. So
I see.
That's my position, and I'm curious about the connections between those projects, and I like to keep up with the new research, which will sometimes came also in the operations. So that's my role.
Great, thanks very much. I think you've come to the right place, so to speak. This is exactly what we are trying to do. And now we have somebody who I believe is a new arrival today. This is, I hope I can pronounce it correctly. It is next. Oops, is he still with us? Yeah, there you are. Hi.
Yeah, I'm still here. Hello, everybody. New to this forum, but not new to Software Forum and not new to any of the projects that have already been mentioned. So yeah, hello, I'm Nate from XLab from Slovenia. Now, the benefit of being the last in line is that everything was already told, so I have not much to add. Me personally, here at XLab, I'm involved in Sodalite and Piacere, the two projects that have been already mentioned, and XLab being, let's say, a very R&D focused SME here from Slovenia. I know that a bunch of colleagues here in my office also work on projects that have also been mentioned here, like, for example, Radon and Medina, and of course, many others. I won't go into details. As I said, the benefit being last is that everything has already been told. So yeah, I'll conclude by congratulating on getting a very, let's say, cross-referenced workshop together.
Well, thanks very much. Fortunately for me, the credit is not mine. Somebody else did a great job.
Whoever did it, congratulations.
Okay, and okay, so now let's get down to business, so to speak. Yeah, in fact, I'm really pleased to see that. In fact, we have the luxury of having a small enough workshop that we can all talk, and we can all get to know each other. Was great, but everybody seems to be involved in enough projects that we've pretty much covered to a great extent the spectrum of the projects that we're particularly interested in getting together. We are particularly interested in the ICT projects that are going on now, particularly interested in, and we seem to have a good load of them here, including the ones that are just starting up. So I'm going to start saying a few words just to stimulate us all, so to speak. Now, can you see me, my screen? Yes, okay. So you should be seeing a slide that says open discussion now, potential collaboration among projects. I'm really glad after these introductions to see and think that we can actually do this, because we actually have people here who are involved in enough of the projects to make this happen. So let me give you my ideas about how this could take place together with other ideas. Okay, so you've seen this. Please keep moving on this as we speak. Okay. All right. So this is the basic idea here. All right. So the European ICT research projects that are going on right now, they've been all funded by the Commission on research challenges of various kinds to focus on specific things. I mentioned these three here: software engineering, digital infrastructures, and cybersecurity, because those are the ones we were tasked. Our mission is to concentrate in particularly on these three pillars. And that's nice, because like the first person who talked yesterday, Michel, was on exactly a software engineering problem, really specific about software engineering issues. So that's great. The second challenge we talked about is, that's for sure. It was completely about that. So that was a great example. And boy, not only that one, that's for sure. And for example, the one I talked about today together with Rita has a big component of privacy inside it. But the reality is, in fact, that I think it's fair to say that all three of the challenges are actually addressing software engineering problems from various points of view and various aspects. So there really is quite a bit of commonality. Same with digital infrastructures. They're all talking about digital infrastructures. Michel was talking about a digital infrastructure they want to construct for hosting software engineering artifacts, and the other ones are obviously about digital infrastructures. And I don't want to speak too much about privacy and security. Excuse me, I meant to say at least challenges 2 and 3, not 1 and 2. But Michel, for all I know, you are also well. I'm sure you're interested in security. I don't know how much you're interested in privacy, but I don't know how relevant that is to what your particular challenge is. Not really.
No, there's definitely connections, because one of the questions is that if you share this project data, there's a lot of things you can derive or infer about individual contributors to projects, and that might not be something that you actually want to be public. So if maybe a person makes many faults, or is slow in responding, or doesn't produce a lot of code, or so there's definitely connections to this.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say really that all of the pillars that are being addressed by SWForum.eu are in fact addressed by the various projects in multiple ways in the ecosystem that's going on right now in Europe, and this is something we want to map out and start to stimulate collaboration. Now, what does that mean actually by stimulating collaboration? Well, thinking about it, two things occurred to me, two ways of collaboration. Now, one was the full-blown way that we actually spoke about together with Michel yesterday. And I fear we may have just lost him because he said he had to go out at 5 o'clock. But and that is genuine technical collaboration in the sense of really implementing things together. Now, I can tell you my own personal experience there. I'll just tell you outright my own personal experience in the kind of technical collaboration across projects is that while it's not exactly impossible, it does involve a significant number of, let's call them prerequisites, that must be handled first. Like, how are you going to finance this? I mean, do you transfer funds back and forth across projects? How do you handle the IPR, that kind of stuff? I mean, once you actually do collaborative development together across projects, certainly there's a lot to work out. So that's fine, and that's certainly the ideal situation. There's no question about that. But there is another definition of collaboration, and that is cross-fertilization through dialogue together and creating communities which have common interests. And that's part of, for example, what this is all about, what we're doing right now. And that is something that SWForum.eu is in fact setting up mechanisms for, to support this kind of collaboration. And of course, this could eventually lead to the first collaboration. For example, I think Michel talked about yesterday, the idea of getting together and proposing a project to do what he wants to do. That could be, this is something that could be addressed by a group of people from this community. So this is something that can be done. And I want to remind you, I want to take this opportunity to remind you of how, of a couple of the most important things that SWForum is putting together in order to enable this kind of collaboration. Now, one is the forum. We are putting together, and it's going to be up and live very soon, a forum to enable this kind of collaboration among researchers on particular topical groups, where people can actually create a profile, have threads, and talk about things and find out about things together. This is what it looks like. All right, this is being put. I mean, you can see what the three, you can see those are the three pillars that I talked about before. Digital software technology, or engineering, you might say, digital infrastructure, and cybersecurity. Now, these are just examples of what topical discussions could be. And our ambition is to create a forum where people talking about the various challenges that we're trying to bring out now we could have a rich set of potential challenges and potential topics. And we'd like to kickstart that today with some ideas that we have, not only from the discussions of the last 2 days, but from our own analyses of what we see out there in the research field. So please keep that in mind. Please register to be part of the forum and start to contribute your topics that you would like to discuss, where you think that you could meet like-minded people. This is what this is about. And here, and the second one is, this was indicated, I think, yesterday, the research hub of projects. And this is connected to the radar, to the project radar that David was talking about yesterday. So we would like to have the projects can come in here and have their own mini sites. And in fact, you can see that some of the sites are already there for projects that we have talked about. For example, AI Sprint we talked about today. This one was a project that was not, I don't think, directly talked about yesterday. And in fact, I don't believe that anybody from that project created this mini website. We're going to do it for you. And we are going to go out and find the research projects and create mini sites, of course, from the public information, as a way of stimulating these projects to get on there, get themselves some visibility, and they can, in fact, actually help to curate these mini hub sites. And this is a way of them actually being next to each other and seeing each other. So there really are ample opportunities here for projects to create communities in various ways. One of them is to get onto the project hub, and that will allow you also to be part of the project radar that was shown to you yesterday. And the other way is to actually get onto the forum and introduce topics that you want to discuss, and to meet birds of a feather, so to speak. So this is, I think, a very useful and important thing that SWForum.eu can make available software researchers in Europe in order that they can start doing collaboration on a level that is actually feasible right now. Okay, with that, I'd like to move to a section in which I hope that we can have a discussion now and come to some interesting insights and results. This is a diagram, the results of an analysis that was carried out by Leah and Hunkal, our coordinators, of the projects that are out there in ICT 5040 and several from ICT 15. And they introduced their ideas from their analysis about what some of the common topics are in projects from looking at all the various projects here. So I'm going to read off, first of all, what they are. You can see them there. Let's see. DevOps. I don't think anybody will disagree with me there that DevOps is in there. That has been mentioned about 100,000 times in the last 2 days, that DevOps is a strong topic. Security monitoring. I know for a fact that this is being done heavily in projects like Xandar, which is not represented here. Xandar is a project in, that's an example of automotive embedded systems, security and safety related embedded systems in automotive, where they are dealing with the problem of developing trustworthy software that can be certified for safety and security. All right, programming models and code generation and extraction. Now, this had a huge list of projects that are all working on that together. Well, together, all working on that at the same time. Self-healing. There are several projects involved in that. Some of them I do not personally know yet. V&V. I know that Cosmos is working on that. I know very much so that Xandar is working on that because I have a personal contact there who is an expert in V&V who came over from Canada to work on that, exactly on this project. Several aspects of optimization of various kinds. Piacere is one of the projects working on optimization, and a whole list of projects currently working on various perspectives on orchestration. Okay, so I'd like to open the floor now to any comments. Maybe I would like to start by having a comment from Hunkal and or Lair on what happened as you were doing this analysis. What kinds of insights did you, what kind of methodology did you use, and what kind of insights were coming out of this?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was moving because these things of home working.
Yes.
My husband is having another telco at the same time. Sorry. Yeah, so you were asking about how we end up with this, let's say, mapping.
How did you go about it, and how did you end up with it? Yes.
Yeah. So this is a very high-level analysis that Leila and me did to the projects that you already mentioned from the different calls. And here we extracted the main topics that indeed were requested indeed by the calls, because that's why the projects were funded. And what we have done is, for most of the projects, we have read or analyzed the project information we have, both from Cordis or the web pages, or yeah, let's say the public means that we have to get this information. And for others, like the ones that we also know better, for example, Piacere, Medina, or other projects that we are involved in, yeah, we may have more deep knowledge about them. So maybe in those cases, this mapping is more, let's say, correct, I would say. So this is an initial view or classification, or I don't know how to call it, on the different groups of projects working on the different topics that we found the most, let's say, the ones that were tackled by more than one project. But of course, this could be enhanced and enlarged and changed, of course. Yeah.
Okay, one question, one thing that occurs to me, or one doubt that I have as I look at this, is I'm trying to think of how this would map to, for example, the tools being made available by SWForum.eu, in particular the forum itself. So these are areas in which they could conceivably collaborate, I guess. So I'm wondering whether the red boxes are the ones that are supposed to become the topics of discussion, let's say, like on the forum or something like that. If that's so, are they all appropriate as they stand? I guess one of them I'm looking at is like V&V. For example, there are a million kinds of V&V around. I mean, and it depends a lot on the system that you're dealing with. And so there's so many different aspects of V&V. And I'm wondering if that is the right box to put all of those things together in, or whether it needs to be refined in different topics or something like that. I don't know, does that strike anybody else that way?
Yeah, this actually needs to be refined. So for instance, I'm going to speak on about the other side, about DevOps. So you see there are 5 projects related to DevOps, but for instance, Cosmos and Veridops are focusing on DevOps for CPS systems, and mostly in the case of DevOps, if I'm not mistaken, mostly focused on the part of verification and validation, the automation of verification and validation. In the case of Piacere, we are focusing on DevOps, but for infrastructure as code. So while we have framed them into DevOps, there needs to be another level of granularity in this analysis to foster this collaboration between the different projects. Also, with respect to DevOps, for example, you have Piacere and Radon, and they are quite related because they do focus more on the cloud perspective, or the cloud continuum perspective. So based on this classification, you could actually make another second or more detailed classification, more fine-grained classification. Yeah.
Yeah, in that respect, sorry, John, just to that I was thinking that maybe another way of classifying the projects is based on the results that you have, the results and the challenges that you have in the board. And maybe other results, of course, and other challenges could be added, but it could be probably good to have projects, for instance, associated with potential results. And the reason I'm saying this is that I am quite convinced that a good way for collaborating is on the basis of the results that each project offers. Because if 2 projects see that their results are either complementary or maybe similar, they could find ways for either comparing them or reusing one in the other project. So maybe I would like to go more for a kind of classification based on results.
I think that's very challenging, Elisabetta, especially because these projects are in different stages.
Yeah, of course.
You have projects that are almost finished, others that are just that began in April or whatever, and then you will also have to analyze how they have released the results, if they are open source or not. And in some cases, we couldn't find that information, for instance. And then the experience says that a lot of these solutions are very niche solutions that are not, I would say, easily usable by other projects without customization or something like that. So
yeah, maybe if I may add, another possible way to conduct this experiment, this kind of taxonomy, is to start bottom up, to have a look at the tools. So I can map some of these phases with some tools, and this helps a lot. I mean, if you think about orchestration, maybe, yeah, you are thinking about Xopera. And if I think about Xopera, then I can see different projects that are related. And in this way, it's much easier to find the point of connection. Another way is that if you have a look at the models, maybe you can think about winery, and then you can see all projects that are in a way or another extending winery. Or another way is to have a look at the languages. For example, yeah, if you think about infrastructure as code languages, maybe you think about Tosca or Ansible or Chef, whatever. And then you can try to see how the different projects are, for example, using Tosca. Because, yeah, we had this joint report between Radon and Sodalite, in which we were combining the two projects for achieving something that independently the two projects could not achieve. And we used the Xopera winery and Tosca. And that was a really nice exercise, because basically we were able to demonstrate that although these projects are different, you can combine them in a way that can be effective and can, I mean, it's not only about providing like the results of your project, but it's like that you provide something that you can reuse in the future. Also, for example, our partners in Stuttgart, what they did is to try to push the results. So they added some pull requests to winery that at the end of the process were accepted. So basically means now everyone can use this kind of innovation that we provided in Radon. So it's not only self-confined in the perimeter of your own project, my own project, but it's something that is a bit more spread.
Yeah, also being here all together could simplify the job. Of course, I agree that it is difficult to try to reason at the, let's say, more detailed level, but at the same time, within the workshop, this could be an opportunity, because we are all together and we can discuss about this and find some commonalities that are that come from what we can make available in a way or another, and we can encourage, for instance, we could encourage, let's say, younger projects to use things that older projects could offer at this stage.
Yes, that's an interesting idea. I think could be very useful. As Dario was speaking, I was also thinking about the how should I say, the public relations effect, power of certain ways of categorizing things. And for example, basing it on tools is a great way, because you know, there's like a Tosca special interest group, so to speak. You know, people, wow, they'll go right to it, you know, because they're very interested in that particular kind of thing. So that's another aspect, let's say, to the searching for commonalities, is to find ways of categorizing that have high public relations value. One of them, for example, is in the domain, like on LinkedIn, for example, the automotive discussion group, automotive domain discussion groups, has a huge number of people because they're also interested in that particular domain. So tools, whatever domain you're in, et cetera, et cetera. Elizabeth, it looked like you were about to say something. So.
No. I was just saying yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to be the negative person here. Sorry.
Okay.
No, because when we were looking into all these projects, and we were looking into the abstracts and the websites, there's actually very little information disclosed about the tools that they're going to use or they are focusing. So you can find some information, but not, I mean, the level of the detail of the information is very small. So I mean, it's not that great. So it's very difficult to go to that level of detail, actually, to say who is going to use Tosca. That's only known by the projects themselves.
Yeah, but the point is that here we have the project. So the project.
Yeah, we only have 3 projects, Elisabetta.
Sorry?
We have 3 projects today here. So
no, we have a AI Sprint, we have Piacere, Soda Light, Medina, Radon. So at least these ones, no? And then the Open Science, the one by John on Open Science. So at least for these projects that are here, we could try to do a more in-depth analysis. I agree with you that doing the analysis without the people who are experts in the project is very difficult. And in fact, this is not the goal for today, I would say. No?
Yeah, perhaps not. Blair? Yeah, I presume that was directed at you, the question.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to answer. Maybe I'm too negative today. It's too late now. I don't know. I think this is an exercise to be done, and I think it would be beneficial for all the projects. Maybe not all of them, but most of the ones that I mentioned there. To come together and to discuss on specific topics. Maybe we could, I don't know, as part of Software Forum, and maybe the people that are here from the different projects can also propose ideas. But maybe an idea could be to, I don't know, launch a topic focused workshop in which we call these specific projects to come together and to discuss on potential aspects of collaboration.
Yeah, also I think that, yeah, I mean, I understand you because, yeah, there are so many projects that when you look for information and you just get lost.
Yeah.
I guess that if you ask to the people that are already involved, we can provide all the information. Also, because I think that, yeah, one of the issues I mean, I'm not very an expert of European projects, Radon is my first one, but one of the issues I see is that basically everyone tries to rebuild from scratch, and it's just a pity. Yeah? I see that there are many projects that are starting right now or started like six months ago, and would be a pity if they don't exploit previous tools. So I think that, I mean, as Gaia X is trying to do, there should be like a common background, because otherwise means that yeah, there is a lot of, I mean, it's not software engineering if you do it by restarting every time from scratch.
Yeah, the European Space Agency also has for years had in place very polished procedure for ensuring that results are reused. And they just don't get thrown away. This has been going on for the past 20, 30 years, and I think that maybe we can make a contribution towards starting to put into place some procedure like that also. That could be an ambition that we could have, yes.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. And if you have pointers to this aspect, I think it could be something that we could study to understand how to do it.
Well, the European Space Agency does that actually in their procurement process, So it's not quite the same, but they, you know, when you produce, for example, for them, you produce a piece of software or something, it's also done in such a way that there is guaranteed to be no intellectual property right problem, because that's another issue with, of course, with European projects. And often a project that you acquire from them says you must use this result that came from some other project or something like that. But still, I think we can learn lessons from that, and maybe have some innovative ideas in SWForum.eu about how we could facilitate this kind of thing. I think Dario had some really good ideas to start with. I do agree that it's not going to be easy to get always the info out of the projects. Some of them are downright secretive for reasons I don't completely understand, but it happens. I would like to see maybe we need, what we would like to do out of this is a multi-pronged kind of attack, so to speak. There were several ideas that came out of here. One was like the idea of a tool-based bottom-up process. Lair had the idea that we could have project-based workshops that could try to bring out the topics. And I'm still hoping that we can find a way to come up with really attractive topics in the forum that people could want to come to. This might be refined into something like that. So I think we do have several ideas that are coming out of this today.
Yeah, in terms of topics, I would look for something that is, let's say, less traditional than compared to this division to this organization that we have here in the chart. Just because, for instance, DevOps. Okay, now I see 5 projects here in the list of DevOps, but as Larry was saying, probably there are many others. For instance, Sodalite is also a project that has DevOps basically in the introduction. And I guess also others, such as also Radon, I think, has DevOps as well. No, Radon is already there, sorry. But and then these keywords might be concern some aspects, either phases or yeah, they are essentially phases of the life cycle of software. But maybe what we should aim at is to identify problems, no, that could be relevant in one or more phases, and could attract the attention of people who are in search for solutions for that problems.
That's an interesting line of attack that I had not really thought about. So there are several ways that we could identify the categories, and we have to figure out which could be the most attractive way to attract the researchers to actually to get involved, and not stick within their own silos, and just not reach out to the other side. So we have our work cut out for us. Okay, I see that we're coming up against the end of today's session. So I think it would be prudent to start wrapping up now, so you can go back to your other obligations, everybody that you have. So thanks to everybody. Thank you, Rita, for coming in and presenting AI Sprint for a half hour to us. That was extremely useful. And thanks to all of you for coming on both days. Could we hear from, I think it is Elizabeth, that you're going to lead the session tomorrow. Could you say a few words about what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we are trying to understand whether there is interest in creating a group focusing on software engineering issues in the many domains we have been talking about, and if yes, whether there is an interest in understanding how this group could self-sustain and what kind of governance this group could have. So these are the main things that we would like to discuss tomorrow. We did some analysis to understand what kind of characteristics this group should have. We see that there is actually, let me call it a hole in the panorama, in the sense that there are, of course, multiple groups, either at the international or European level. For instance, Gaia X that has been mentioned is certainly a group that is taking more and more momentum, and there is a lot of interest around it. At the same time, in Europe, at the European level, we did not find a similar group of people interested in software engineering who could, let's say, who get together with the purpose of understanding how to have an impact in the European research in this area. And for this reason, we were thinking that it could be beneficial for the community to create this group. And if yes, and if there is interest, of course we would need to understand how to create the group and how to make sure that this group can live and grow up over the time. No, so this is more or less the idea that we have. As I say, we did some investigations, we have some proposals, but of course we would like to understand also the opinion of the others, and clearly a group can be created only if there is an interest by the group members, the potential group members, I would say.
Great, thanks very much, Elizabeth. So, I hope that we can see as many of you as possible tomorrow to have this discussion. It's going to be important to hear as many voices as possible tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you then. So with that, have a good evening, everybody. It was great to talk to you all today. Thanks so much for all of your participation, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.